Okay, this is kind of just a continuation on what we've been doing with the polynomial operations. All right, so first off, polynomial. We have a minus, and by the way, are all the x's covered? Yep. Okay. Switch the minus to a plus, and then that goes to positive. Switch that plus to a minus. Switch that plus to a minus. Switch that plus to a minus. Now I have a question first off. Do you have any multiplication here? Okay? Do you have any multiplication? We kind of need to organize this into step 1 and step 2. Okay? No, because there's a plus sign between them. There is no multiplication. Okay? So no. Now it's time for addition. So what you do is you look for your highest power, which here happens to be a third power, and line up your blanks. So blank x to the third plus blank x to the second plus blank x plus blank. Okay. Now, x to the thirds. No. Yup, and that's it. So 4. X to the second, search out those. So you got here, so positive 3x to the second, and negative 3x to the second, because when I made that minus, that 3 is now negative. So if I add 3 and negative 3, that's 0. So then I can end up crossing this out. Okay. Cross them out, though. Okay, regular x's. I have a negative 4x and a negative 5x. So negative 4 plus negative 5 is negative 9x. Okay, numbers without x's, I have 3 plus negative 6, it's negative 3. Okay, again, if it's 0, you wipe it from the answer. Okay, then the next thing we did was, that is multiplying. Okay, so step 1, you need to multiply. So first, I'm going to go to scratch paper because I didn't give myself any room. So I take negative 1 times negative 9, x fifth, x fifth. Negative 1 times 5, x fifth, and x. Negative 1 times 13. X fifth, and then nothing. Okay, so negative 1, negative 9 is 9, and then 5 plus 5 is 10, so x to the 10th. Negative 1 times 5 is negative 5, and then we got 5 and 1, so 5 plus 1 is 6, so x 6. Negative 1 times 13 equals negative 13, and x to the 5th. Okay, so I'll line those up. X to the 10th plus negative 5x to the 6th plus 13x to the 5th. And look at all your x's. That's a 10th, that's a 6th, that's a 5th. They're all different, so there's no point in going forward. That is the answer. Okay. Next one, 1y plus 6 times 1y minus 5. Do we have to multiply? Darn right we do. Okay. So, again, when you have two parentheses like that, you want to just pick off one at a time. So 1 times 1. That's a y, that's a y. 1 times negative 5. That's a y, and that has nothing. Kill him off. Okay, 6 times 1. That has nothing, that has a y. And 6 times negative 5. So it's going to be 1, and then 1 plus 1 is 2, 1y to the second, negative 5, and there's no point in putting the 1 there because that's the only one we have, so it's just y. And then 6, and that's just y. negative 30. Okay? Now, so I multiplied. It's been done. Okay? So, now, what I need to do after that, I'll multiply. I'm just going to write done right there because I already did it. But we have a couple y's that are the same kind. These are both regular y's. They need to be plussed. So since I go blank y to the second, because that's the highest, plus blank y plus blank. So y to the second, I have 1. Negative 5 plus 6 is 1. Negative 30. Okay? There we go. Okay, next one. Now, times, and this is as long as I make the problems, okay? It's what's called a binomial because there's 2 terms, times a trinomial because there's 3 terms. Okay, multiplication, you know the drill. So, 4 times 1, y and y second, 4 times 8, that's y and y. 4 times negative 6, that's y and that's nothing. And now we're done with this guy because I ran out of numbers. Now, negative 3 times 1. Negative 3's got nothing. The 1 has y to the second. Negative 3 times 8. Negative 3 has nothing. The 8 has a y. And then negative 3 times negative 6. Okay, so 4 times 1's 4, and then I add the y powers. 1 plus 2 is 3. 4 times 8's 32. I add the y powers. 1 plus 1 is 2. 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. That's the only y I have, so don't put a 1 on it, just put y. Okay, negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, and that's the only y I have. It is to the second power, so we got to put y to the second. Negative 3 times 8 is negative 24. That's the only y I have, and it's just regular y. And then you're going to get positive 18. So line up your terms. So you got blank y to the third, because that's your highest up here, this third, plus blank y to the second, plus blank y plus blank. Okay, so y to the thirds, all I have is the 4. Okay. Y to the seconds. Well, I have a 32y to the second here, but I have a negative 3y to the second here. So I take 32 plus negative 3, and that gives me 29y to the seconds. Okay, regular y's. I've got negative 24y, negative 24y, and that's negative 48y. And then I have 18. Okay, next one. Negative r plus 7. Cover that with a 1, please. Times, if there's not a sign there, you need to times. 2r to the second minus 1r minus 9. So obviously it's times, so negative 2, or crap. So negative 1 times 2. R and r to the second. Negative 1 times negative 1. That's an r, that's an r. And negative 1 times negative 9. That's an r, that's nothing, okay? So negative 1r is dead. So 7 times 2. 7 has nothing, 2 has r to the second. 7 times negative 1. 7 has nothing, that has r. And then 7 times negative 9. Okay, so negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. And then there's 2 r's here, so they both need powers. So 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 r's here both need powers. They'd both be 1s. Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. Negative 1 times negative 9 is 9, and we just put r. 7 times 2 is 14. Here's the only r, but it is to the second, so r to the second. Negative 7, put an r. And 7 times negative 9 is negative 63. Okay, so r is the variable. Its highest power is a 3. So blank r to the third plus blank r to the second plus blank r plus blank. R to the seconds, we have negative 2. R to the third, I'm sorry, R to the third, we have negative 2, and that's it. R to the seconds, here and here. 1 plus 15 gives me 15 r to the second powers. Okay, r, 9 plus negative 7 is 2. And then we have negative 63. All right, now the other thing I'm going to teach today, it's an easy concept. It's pretty much what you're already doing. Now, y plus 6 to the second power, okay? Now, you don't want to screw around and draw those boxes. And no, it's not y to the second plus 36. So anybody who thinks that, you're wrong. When I have what's called a plus or minus to a power, the only way to simplify that, now on those ones you're doing all the boxes on, the 3 boxes, you were able to do that because you didn't have any pluses or minuses, okay, in the original problem. But when you have a plus or a minus to a power, the way to do it is to get rid of your power, put a times dot, and just simply duplicate what you have. So y plus 6. Okay. All right, so I put 1s here, and we have to obviously multiply. So 1 times 1, then y and y. 1 times 6, be y, and then 6 done everything. 6 times 1, 6 done everything, 1 has a y. And then 6 times 6, so forth. Okay, so 1 times 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 times 6 is 6, and then we just have y. 6 times 1 is 6, we just have y. 6 times 6 is 36. Okay, so blank y to the second plus blank y plus blank. So y to the seconds, you got 1. 6 plus 6 is 12, and then 36. N minus 11 to the second power. So duplicate it. Okay, so again, 1 and 1. And then we multiply. So 1 times 1. And then 1 times negative 11. You got an n, and then negative 11 didn't have anything. Cross it out. And then negative 11 times 1n. And then negative 11 times negative 11. Okay, so that's 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, so 1n to the second. 1 times negative 11 is negative 11. That would be just n. Negative 11 times 1 is negative 11. That would be just n. Negative 11 times negative 11 is positive 121. So I've got blank n to the second plus blank n plus blank. So for n to the seconds, you got 1. For n's, negative 11 plus negative 11 is negative 22. And then 121. Okay, 2y plus 5. Again, when I have a plus or a minus to a power, you get rid of it. and you just duplicate the same thing. Okay, now we got some workspace. Okay, so 2 times 2, and y. 2 times 5, and then 2 had a y, 5 didn't have anything. Cross them out. 5 times 2, 5 had nothing, 2 had y, and then 5 times 5. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4. 1 plus 1 is 2. 10 with a y. 10 with a y. 25. So blank y to the second plus blank y plus blank. So y to the second, so we had a 4. For y's, 10 plus 10 is 20. And then 25. Okay, last problem. Put 1s there. And then 1 times 1. And then m and m. 1 times 6. 6 doesn't have anything, so get rid of it. Negative 6 times 1. Negative 6 doesn't have anything. 1 has an m. And then negative 6 times 6. 1 times 1 is 1, and then 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 times 6 is 6 with an m. And then negative 6 with an m. And then negative 36. So blank m to the second plus blank m plus blank. M is second, so I have a 1. Regular m, 6 plus negative 6 is 0, so we just erase that. And then I've just got the negative 36. Okay, so 1 m to the second plus negative 36. Okay,